Welcome to Curious Kids Every Day. I'm Josh. How are you doing today? It's so good to hear from you. Hey, I've got a question for you. Have you ever gotten money for your birthday? How much money did you get? Have you ever used your own money to buy something at the store? What did you buy? Did you get a cool new toy? Have you noticed that sometimes people use paper bills to pay for things? And sometimes they use a card? And other times they might even use their phone. Are all of those ways to pay for things the same? Or are they different? And why are stores willing to give you food or toys or whatever you want as long as you give them money? What is money? Why do people want money? Wouldn't they rather have the toy? Today, we're going to learn all about how money works. Okay, so first, I need you to imagine something. I need you to close your eyes and imagine that you live in a tiny village. And here's what makes this tiny village interesting. Nobody here uses money. There are no bills, no dollars, or whatever country you're from, whatever your currency is. They don't use that. So how do you buy things? Well, let's say you want to get a banana. You might go to the person who has bananas in your village and say, I'll give you 2 eggs from my chicken if you give me a banana. That's called bartering. Can you say bartering? That's when you trade one thing for another. You've probably done this with your siblings if you have brothers or sisters. Hey, I'll give you this toy if you let me play with this toy. What you've done is something called bartering. But what if the fruit seller who's trying to sell the bananas doesn't want your eggs? What if he only wants apples and you don't have apples? Well, then it's going to be really hard for you to get a banana. You'd have to go find someone who sells apples and hope that they want eggs. Okay, so let's say you went to somebody who had apples and they do want eggs. Okay, great, so now you've got an apple. So now you can go back to the guy who has the bananas and say, hey, I'll give you this apple for your banana. And you trade. That all sounds very complicated, doesn't it? That's why people came up with the idea of money. And here's the thing about money. Money only works if we all agree that it has value. If we all agree that it has value, then you can trade it for anything. You don't have to find someone who wants your eggs. You just sell your eggs to anyone who wants eggs, get the money, and then use that money to buy whatever you want, like the banana from the fruit seller. Much easier. And money can be anything that we all agree it is. Long ago, people used shells, salt, or even giant stones. Today, most people use coins or paper bills, credit cards, or even phones and computers to move money from one place to another. When you use a card or your phone, the store isn't getting real paper money right away. Instead, your bank, where you keep your money, sends a message that says, hey, take this money out of Josh's account and send it to the store's account. So even though no physical money changed hands, the trade still happens. Okay, so let's go back to the original question. Why do stores want your money? Well, because they can use it to buy other things that they want or need. Maybe they'll pay their workers, or buy more food if it's a grocery store, or pay the electricity bill to keep the lights on in the store. Since there are lots of things you can do with money, there are lots of reasons that people want money. But now, you might be wondering, how do we decide how much something costs? Like, who gets to say that a banana costs 25 cents or that a video game costs $50? Well, here's the crazy thing. In most places, no one person decides. The prices of things are usually set by something called the market. And that just means all the people who are buying and selling stuff. Believe it or not, if you get money for your birthday and you go to the store to buy a toy, you are part of the market. You are helping set the prices too. You just don't realize it. Here's how it works. Let's say a grocery store sells bananas. If they sell bananas for $1 each and no one buys them, the store might say, that must be too expensive. Let's lower the price. So they make bananas 50 cents instead. And suddenly, a few more people are buying them. They say, okay, well, could we sell even more if we lowered the price a little bit more? On and on it goes. But what if there's a banana shortage? Maybe a big storm damages the banana farm, so there aren't as many bananas to sell. Now, more people want bananas than there are bananas to buy. So the store might raise the price since bananas are harder to get and more in demand. Prices change depending on how many people want something and how much of it is available. That's called supply and demand. Can you say supply and demand? The more people want something, demand, and the fewer there are to go around, supply, the higher the price usually goes. If nobody wants it and there's too much of it, the price goes down. So if you go to a store and see an item on clearance, which means the store is selling it for way less than they normally would, you know that this is an item that nobody is buying. So they're willing to sell it for way less just to get it out of the store. But the store doesn't get the items it sells for free. They have to buy them. So even if they want to lower the price, they can only lower it so much or they lose money. It's a really interesting system called economics. And it's one of the most complex systems of all because everyone is involved. When you go to the store to buy a toy, you made a decision not to buy a lot of other toys. That sends a signal that perhaps the toy you bought is more valuable and more in demand than the toys you didn't buy. But that doesn't necessarily mean the price of your toy is going to go up. Sometimes it might actually make the price go down over time. Maybe the toy maker sees they have a popular toy on their hands and they decide to find a way to make more of that toy in a cheaper way. So next time you see a price tag on something, remember, it's not just a random number. That price is always changing based on what people want and what's available. And the interesting thing about money is that it's not valuable just because it looks cool. It's valuable because everyone agrees it is. That agreement lets us trade and buy things much more easily than if we were still using eggs and bananas to trade. Okay, let's have a quick quiz. What do we call it when you trade one item for another without using money? That is called bartering. What do we call how many people want something and how much of it is available? Do you remember that term, blank and blank? Supply and demand. If nobody is buying a toy, what might happen to its price? The store might lower the price. And when you buy one toy instead of another toy, what does that tell the store? It tells the store that you liked the toy you picked more than all the other toys. At least of the ones that cost the amount of money that you were willing to spend. So let's say you had $10 to spend. Of all the toys in the store that cost $10, you picked the specific one you picked, which means that That's the $10 toy you were the most excited about buying. So maybe it's the best of the $10 toys available at the store. All right, let's play true or false. True or false? The price of something never changes. It always stays the same. That's false. Prices can go up or down depending on supply and demand. True or false? A toy that nobody is buying might go on clearance. That's true. That means the store is trying to sell it for less. True or false? Money is valuable because it has US presidents on it. That is false. It's valuable because people agree it has value. True or false? You are part of the market when you make choices about what to buy. That is true. Everyone helps decide what things are worth by what they choose to buy, and what they're willing to pay for the item too. Would you rather invent your own kind of money or be in charge of your own store? What an interesting question. If you could pick one item to be used as money, what item would you pick? I would pick popcorn, but that might not work very well because it'd be really easy to just pop more popcorn anytime I needed it. Okay, I'm going to describe two versions of the same item, and you guess which one would probably cost more money. Are you ready? A regular sandwich or a sandwich made by a famous chef? Probably a sandwich made by a famous chef. There would be way fewer of those sandwiches, and they would also probably be more delicious than the regular sandwich too. What about a toy car made of plastic or a toy car made of gold? Yeah, a toy car made of gold. For thousands of years, people have used gold as money for this reason. It's a rare thing. What about a t-shirt from a store or a t-shirt signed by a famous movie star? Well, there aren't going to be too many signed t-shirts from that famous movie star, so probably the shirt that has the signature on it. What about a plain notebook with 100 pages or a plain notebook with 1,000 pages? Definitely the one with 1,000 pages. You're getting more pages, so it's probably worth more. Okay, let's play Name That Thing. I'm going to give you 3 clues and you tell me what each thing is. Are you ready? I'm a place people go to buy food, toys, or clothes. I usually have aisles, carts, and checkout lanes. You might visit me with a shopping list. What am I? I am a store. Okay, here's another one. I'm made of metal and worth just a little bit. I come in different sizes. You might hear me jingle in your pocket. What am I? I'm a coin. Okay, all right, one more. I let you bring your stuff home from shopping. I can be paper, plastic, or reusable. You might carry me by the handles. What am I? A shopping bag. Well, now we know. Money is like a special middleman in trading. Instead of hoping someone wants the exact thing you have, you can use money to buy what you want and then let the people you bought from use the money you gave them to buy the things that they want. Whether it's coins, paper, or a card in your wallet, money helps make trading easier for everyone. What kind of question do you think we'll ask tomorrow on Curious Kids Every Day? I can't wait to find out. So until then, keep asking questions and stay curious, kids. And for all the grown-ups listening, please visit CuriousKidsEveryday.com to get a free printable with activity ideas that don't involve screens. Those are the best kinds of adventures to have. That's CuriousKidsEveryday.com. See you tomorrow.